learn how to play. She's gone. She's gone. What went wrong? 1973, Hall and Oates, right here from the area of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was a song basically talking about when it goes wrong and she's gone. And even at one point he'd say he'd even pay the devil, if you look at the lyrics. What's up? Welcome back from Memorial Day. I hope you had a good one yesterday. I had a good one. Chill with the fam. I hope you did too. And if not, hey, listen, at least you got a chance to just chill. Hopefully you didn't have to go to work. But as we know, if people have checked, if you're in any kind of gossip at all, although, what we try to do is take the gossip and apply it to our real life situations going on and try to make the best out of it and see what we can learn or bounce off of each other. So, of course, the hot topic has been the Remy Ma and Papoose issues or deals or divorces or whatever that's been going on. But the one part that I want to talk about, because I know we talked about a little bit about it on Friday, because as more things come out, there's a couple of things that make me, because I definitely feel it, because once again, although I've never been married, I've been in long-term situations and I can feel the differences, the different issues in both of them. But especially as a man. So the first thing that I want to talk about is him saying that he went to counseling trying to work things out. I don't know if any of you have ever gone to counseling before, whether married or not. But what counseling does is that it kind of, in my estimation, brings to, because I've gone before, let me just say couples counseling, because it brings out a lot of things to the forefront, but typically that you probably already know. But one thing I wasn't anticipating was it helping me see certain things that I was doing wrong or that I could do better, or things that as a man and the leader of the household should have done or put my foot down or been more direct and said or did earlier when I first saw certain behaviors happening. And a lot of times, because we love the woman or the man, and if you're a woman watching this, and you deal with the person, you love the person, you have respect for the person, because otherwise you wouldn't be with the person. So I hear Papoose saying, calling a guy a lame and, all of this other kind of stuff. But I know how he feels, because in the back of his mind, he's still thinking he's a lame, but I feel shame because he's sleeping with my wife. He's sleeping with my significant other. Okay, that doesn't matter if they've not slept together in a while and not done this. So anyway, let's get back on track. So he goes to counseling. He tries to do certain things to rectify the situation, to make the situation better. But here's the problem. And even when I went to counseling, I didn't know any of this stuff, and I wasn't presented with any of this stuff that I think in the back of my mind, she could have been doing something, maybe, but I never had any tangible, concrete proof. But in his case, and some other cases that we've been in, like the case, I've been in cases before where I've had tangible proof. And once you have tangible proof, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Now, once again, I say this from a single man's perspective. And what I mean by single, as in unmarried, right? Because I know when you're married, there's certain things that you have to work out. There's certain things that, almost contractually you're binded to. So, and sooner or down the line, we'll get my buddy Ray and a couple of my other married guys to speak on some of these things. But the deal is still the deal. The reason why, from a man's perspective, cheating is so much of a deal breaker, or could be, is because, just like I said in the title, if she does it once, she's going to do it again, even if it's not with that same person. And when you accept her back, it almost is saying, hey, listen, you know what? Just like how you might do with one of your kids. I'm mad at you, but don't do it again. But here's the problem with that going on. Women, of course, and I know sometimes You may have women now who say, well, you guys are so emotional now. You're so toxic and all this other kind of stuff. But just based off of DNA and the way life is going and it goes, women are typically the more emotional ones. And what I mean by emotional, we're not talking about just a quick because he got mad and made a snap decision. We're talking about where emotions kind of go like this, where one day they're happy with you, they're happy with the world. Then the next day, out of nowhere, there's an issue with this, there's an issue with that. The house isn't clean. You didn't change my tire. You didn't walk me to the store. So you can never kind of get a grip on what it is. So as a man, naturally, when you're with a woman for a long period of time, when you get to a good place, and he even said this, he thought that they were in a place of peace. When you get to a good place, you say, whew, good. Everything is cool. She's not tripping on me about anything. I don't really have much to trip on her about anything. And then when you throw the dynamics of kids in there, we're going to do stuff as a family. We're going to do this. We want to do that, especially for our kids, especially like in her case, having young kids. And I've been through that before also. So you're saying to yourself, hey, this could possibly work out. We've gone to counseling. We've pointed things out. This person has told me what they're not going to do anymore. I'm amenable to that. I want to work things out. I want to keep my family together. Much respect for that, especially my married brothers out there. I get it. But how do you know after the counseling session that this person is going to keep their word? How do you know that just because you're at this place of wanting peace or wanting your family together how do you know how real the other person is with it? And, we all know how men are. Men are persistent. Like you can deal with a woman and sometimes she'll be like, you know what? Yeah, I can't wait to see you. I want to such and such and such and such. But usually still the more aggression has to be on the side of the man. So what do I mean by that? So you have a woman or your woman telling you that she's no longer going to sleep with this guy anymore. But you got to think and look in the mirror as yourself as a guy and say, hey, guy, I'm aggressive also for the most part. I'm aggressive towards women as far as, pursuing them, wanting them, or have been in the past. So what makes this guy that she's cheating on me with any different? Matter of fact, and this is what always gets a guy's ego, he may be worse. He may be more of a chick getter than me. And in the case of them, he's much younger than me. So even as a man, there's a lot of things to think about. There's a lot of things to digest. So you're thinking to yourself, wow, I know he's already had sex with her over and over and over again. And she's telling the counselor, or she's telling people, all right, you know what? I'm going to stop. I'm going to chill on that situation. And, I'm not going to do it again. And then time goes on. Things don't really get much better between you and her. And now it's happening again. And she's doing it again. And, one thing he also said is that, he tried to stay in the house for the kids. And I can respect that because I think a lot of us have tried to do that before at a certain period. But the thing is that most men in their minds, if that's the one thing that I would say that causes the most turmoil for men in a situation or romantic relationship, would be infidelity. Men can't deal with their woman, their wife, going out dealing with someone else. Some people say that they can, but take it from me, just being in relationships, it's a heart-wrenching thing. You ever sit up sometimes at night? Y'all might spend a lot of time at each other's house. And, it's like, because I told somebody this before too. And, you can always also tell women this. You know how you want to know if you and a woman, in my estimation, are really clicking like that, even if you haven't made it official yet. You want to know how you can tell that it's clicking, that it's working like that? that she will make sure that you are the last person that she speaks to before she goes to bed. Think about it. None of us are kids, right? You don't have a bad time. You may doze off or naturally because that's the time you go to sleep because you might wake up early, but you don't have a bad time. So if she's not the last person you talk to that night, and I'm saying, when you're getting into each other, and it could be a situation. If she doesn't feel as though she needs to call you, you need to be the last person that she talks to, the last man that she talks to that night, then there's a problem. So what he would say is that, him and his daughter would try to call her back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. She wouldn't answer the phone. She wouldn't come home. She wouldn't. Do you know what that does to a man's soul? And I'm sure most of you out here listening, because most of my guys always tune in. We all know what it does to your soul. You can't sleep. You doze off at 10:58. You look at the phone again at 11:58. Still no call. Then you say, you know what? I ain't gonna trip out. Next thing you know, it's 12:48. Still no call. And you don't want to do it, but you do it. And you make that call. You make that call at 1:15 to either go straight to a voicemail or have the phone ring, 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 and nobody answers. And then that next morning, you get that BS, oh, my phone was off, or, oh, I was so asleep. You know how it goes, guys. The same kind of games we've played with women. But it's different because it shoots right to the gut. It shoots right to the heart. And you say to yourself, where in the hell has she been? I know something isn't right. I know it's not right. And then what do? You know it's not right. You know there's something going on, especially if she does it more than one time. But what do? What do a lot of us do? We don't have concrete proof yet. So we say, come on back home. Come on back and hang out with me. Come be back a part of this situation because, you do like her. And in some cases, you love her. And in other cases, you are in love with her. So even though your better mind tells you that is something wrong, that there's a great chance, especially if it's repetitive, that there's a great chance that she's with somebody else. But no, not with her, because I put it down. I do this, I do that for her. I look out for her. I do all this other kind of stuff for her. And she wouldn't do something like that to me. I'm a good guy. I'm one of the good guys. I don't beat on women. I don't do a whole bunch of hanging out. I don't curse in front of my mom. I don't curse in front of the kids. Because that just ain't me. I show your mom respect. I show your dad respect. I show your family respect. But what does it mean? Nothing. I mean, it means something as far as you being a decent person. But as far as it keeping the glue of you two together and her not sleeping with somebody else, another man, it doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Because once again, especially if you found out she did it once, she's going to do it again. Very rarely have I ever heard, even when talking to women or anything whatever, have I heard of people having one night stands, go to Jamaica or somewhere and do something like that. But as far as on a regular basis, somebody stepping out and dealing with somebody cheating, and it only happens one time. No, it typically goes until it dissolves. And 9 times out of 10, it's never dissolved by the man. And that's why I say there's a difference with cheating. Because when she does it, if she decides to do it, now she's emotionally locked in on somebody else. Can't talk from being a woman, but this is just the way I see it. She's emotionally on to somebody else, even if she just decides, because let's face it, I mean, you got some girls out there that are out there like that, but I think that most women still would choose not to have too many numbers as far as partners. And when they do decide to step out, a lot of times they're pissed. They're not happy about their current situation, but that's not the point. The point is that they still step out. So when you deal with that, when you gotta lay in bed and go through that anguish, and you know how that feels. And then the next day you talk to her on the phone and you're like, where you been at? Where I ain't hear from you last night. Like, why didn't you such and such and such and such? And we've all done it. Instead of you putting your foot down, you take that. We've all taken that. And unfortunately, in a situation like Papooses, he stayed around probably too long. But you can never tell anybody what's too long. Like even people I know that are in relationships, I'll just say to them, you'll know when enough is enough. Even me, I have to say that to myself also. You know when enough's enough. But after you've been through so many relationships, by the time you're 35, 40 years old, you know what wrong looks like. You know what potential cheating looks like. You don't have to be dumb. None of us are dumb. You know what it looks like. He know what it looks like, what it looked like. And that's the decision that we all have to make. Deciding if we're going to stay, why we're going to stay, and what we can tolerate. Me personally, I can't tolerate it. I'll tell you a story. I had this one situation where really, really good girl. And I take it on the chin because, she had caught me out there a couple of times or whatever. But I remember I went to go and pick her up, and she's like, well, I called the phone. It's about 11:30 at night when she got off. And I'm like, why is she not answering the phone? So I said, okay, well, let me go past one of her relatives' house that she typically is at if she's not at her apartment. So now, mind you, this is about 12, 13 years ago. So I pull up and, it's a car in the middle of the street. So, I'm thinking that, it's the person is delivering pizza or whatever, because I had a nicer car at the time. And it was like a beat down, broken down Honda Accord. So I'm thinking it's like a pizza guy or something like that or whatever. So I pull up. I was in a pickup truck at the time. So, he saw the lights and everything. So he goes back around the corner. But now, mind you, I still haven't gotten in touch with her. I still have not gotten an answer from her on the phone. So I come back around the corner again, and I park on the corner. And I just sat there. I sat there for about 15 minutes. And lo and behold, who do I see coming out of that relative's house but my girlfriend at the time? And, she came out. You know how they come out. She was looking like she was ready to give him now. Also, the problem with this is that by this point, it was 1:00 in the morning. So, she comes out. She's looking all cute and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? The weave, because, nobody was into wigs back then as much, but the weave was all flowing. You know what I'm saying? Face all pretty. I could even see her lip gloss shining off of the night lights. Big old bag that I had bought her for Valentine's Day. Heels on. I said, wow, is she going out, or is she going to bed looking like that? So anyway, I pull up behind that old broken down kind of Honda, and I said, hey, and I called her name. I said, what's up? Where you going? So of course she looked at me with the fear of God and ran back in the house. She comes back out and she tries to say, now I had been with her for almost 5 years at this point. About 4 years, I'm sorry. So she comes back out. She tries to level with me and everything. She even got the guy to send her some kind of text message or something that she forwarded to me talking about, oh yeah, all I was trying to do was drive you home at night. He doesn't have anything to worry about. BS. She probably was already knocking the boy off. Probably was already knocking him off. And I tried to stay with her. I tried to work it out, but I never could trust her again. I started popping up at her house, her apartment. I started just calling at random times. So to be honest with you, what was in my mind, it drove me crazier than what it probably drove her to know that she had been found out. Because, as men, we just process stuff a lot differently. We don't look at things the same way. And I know some people will be like, oh, well, you cheated. You got what you got and was paid back for. Yeah, okay, cool. But it still does not change the way that men process cheating. And I knew in my mind, if she did it once, she would do it again. But guess what? I wasn't sticking around to find out if she was going to do it again. Because, you know what? It was time for your boy to move on. Because, hey, stuff happens. But hey, listen, you tell me what you think. You tell me how you feel. Put something in the comment. You ever had a time before where somebody cheated on you and, you felt like they just took your heart and pitter-pattered it all over the place? But hey, you know how we do. Make sure you live life. Don't let life live you.